Alrighty. And we are live. So have you been on Xiaohongshu, Katie?
I just thought my hair is an absolute mess. Have I been on Xiaohongshu? Yes, I've been on Xiaohongshu for years.
No, I mean, have you been on it recently? Have you seen what
Yes,
happened?
it's been crazy. There's been a lot of really interesting updates going on with Xiaohongshu, and particularly with the TikTok ban in America and how that's affecting things on Xiaohongshu.
Yeah, I noticed that. And when I first saw it, so I was in a coaching call yesterday actually with teachers. And suddenly I go to talk to my clients on Xiaohongshu, and I'm looking at my explore page and it's all like TikTok refugee. I'm like, what is a TikTok? And I saw, I'm like, what is going on? I think I had the same reaction that the Chinese people have because I'm not on TikTok. I mean, I am, but I'm not generally on it. So I wanted to do this live though, and I invited Katie to come on here with me because she has been on Xiaohongshu for a very long time, a lot longer than me. I've only been on it for a couple of months, but still longer than most of you. And um, I I noticed that there's a lot of like misconceptions about what the app is, and I wanted to clear that up and just to, like, talk about it. So this is going to be just a like, let's talk about it. Ask us questions about what Xiaohongshu is, how you can use it. It's really a big pet peeve of me. I know that the title of this is "Everyone is moving to Red Note" because people are calling it Red Note, and I guess in the Google Play App Store it's called Red Note, and that's what we're calling it now.
I think they renamed themselves without telling everyone. I don't know.
It's
I
not.
got a bit confused by that too. I was like, Red
It's
Note
not
is
Red Note.
the phone.
Xiaohongshu literally stands for Little Red Book. It's always been Red Book, Little Red Book, Xiaohongshu. Red Note is I've it's
I think
driving
it's
me
a new thing because their English name used to just be Red in capital letters for some reason, and then they obviously realized that obviously wasn't doing well when people tried to search for them because Red is just such a common word that's used. So I guess they picked Red Note. I swear there was a phone brand called Red Note though, so I got a bit confused by that. But
I have
yeah,
no idea. And by the way,
Xiaohongshu, Little
Katie
Red
lives
Book,
in China.
Red
Katie
Note,
lives in
same
China.
thing.
Katie lived in China too for a while, so she's like super familiar. There are, when you're going into Red Note, it kills me to say this, when you go into it, like, it's really bothering me, but when you're going into Xiaohongshu, there are, it's a different culture, so there are some things that you have to do differently, and there are some things that you can do that can get you kicked off the platform. You have to realize that when you're going in there, you're walking into a different culture. You're walking into some culture that is run by a different style of government than we have. And you are going to, there are like a lot of it's the same and going to feel really familiar and similar, but a lot of it is really, really, really different. Um, starting with monetization. So I posted something on TikTok yesterday talking about, I don't get it, why are we going over there? I guess it's just, and anybody in the comments can correct me if I'm wrong, I guess it's just kind of like a rebellion, like, hey, you said you don't want us to have TikTok because of the Chinese government. Well, you know what, up yours, we are going to go on over to the Chinese government. But for, I have seen some people talking about they're going to grow their business on Xiaohongshu, and let's talk about that, Katie.
You know, I made notes for this. I was really organized. I've made notes on like 5, 6 different categories of stuff. The last
No
one on my list was
way. So
monetization, but
I
let's talk
told
about that
Katie,
first.
I scheduled this live yesterday when I saw everything was going on. I was like, you know what? I don't have time for it, but I'm making time for it. And then like at like the last minute, I said, hey, Katie, you want to pop on with me? And she's like, I'd love to. So you're on top of it. Okay. So let's talk about monetization.
Monetization.
Can you
I
get
think
monetized on
the
Xiaohongshu?
key thing to get across is that for most TikTokers, like if you're someone who uses TikTok and I don't know, you've monetized your account on TikTok, the ways that you earn money on TikTok are different to how you might earn money on Xiaohongshu. And I'm going to be totally honest. Don't turn off the video. We can talk about lots of cool stuff. But before you disappear, just be aware that for most TikTokers, it will not be possible to be monetized on Xiaohongshu. I would say if you're someone who just likes creating fun content, posting some videos, and you like to get a little bit of revenue from those videos, that kind of monetization does not really exist on Xiaohongshu. Red Note, sorry, does not really exist on Red Note. So Yeah, I mean there are different ways that people earn money on Xiaohongshu, and there's a huge industry really of people who kind
No,
of
we
built
do.
up around this.
We are both monetized accounts, but
Yes.
not in the way that most people are thinking about it. So you can, as a Xiaohongshu user, Red Note, whatever we're calling it today, as a Red Note user, you can be monetized. You can run your own business there. We'll get into that because there are different ways that you have to do that. You're not just doing link in bio with them. That's going to get you kicked off the platform. But you can run your own business on there. You can sell just like TikTok has their shop. Xiaohongshu has their shop. You can do influencer contracts as well. And Katie knows more about that part than I do. As far as doing the TikTok shop kind of thing on Red Note, you are not going to be able to get paid the money. So there is no ad revenue like what you're used to in TikTok or YouTube or anything else. But as far as the shopping goes, even if they did open up to Americans to like do this, you're not going to be able to get paid to do it because there are restrictions on how you can get money from these apps in China. And it's not just an app restriction, it goes across to all the apps. So you cannot send and receive. Well, there are ways to send money, there are ways to receive money from China, but it's really, really limited and it doesn't, in order to get paid through those in the app monetization routes, you would have, somebody asked me, can you send the link? They commented on my TikTok about it. They said, can you send me the link to the app so I can get paid? And I said, okay, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to move to China. You're going to have to get a mainland China identification card, which is going to take a while. How long does that take, Katie?
It's impossible with a foreigner to get a the
Oh,
so
you're,
in China you've got
you're still
something
in
called
China.
a Shifenjun, which is like a ID card. So when I lived in China, I had a residence permit, right? And so if you move to China for like a long period of time, I'm not talking about short-term travel or studies or something. I mean, if you move there either for work or for a longer term studies, like you're doing a whole degree there, not just short term, or if you marry someone who's Chinese, right, you move there to get married, that kind of uh, situation, you can get something called a residence permit. So if you're staying longer than 6 months, you get a residence permit. You may also get work permit, all this kind of stuff. But as part of that kind of process, once you've got a residence permit, most banks in China will allow you to open a bank account in China. But if you're just there as a tourist, like you can't open a bank account. It's not possible. And
So
if you're
you need to find
outside of
yourself,
China,
you need to find yourself a Chinese husband. Um,
yes, that.
Go find yourself a Chinese husband or a Chinese wife, get married, and then open up a bank account in mainland China. That is the only way that you are like that you can legally. I mean, there is another way where you can find somebody in China that has a bank account and work with them. That's really risky just because they're nice people over there. And I'm going to tell you, the Chinese people are the nicest people that I've ever worked with in my entire life. I love working with Chinese people, and I'm really glad that all of you are getting to see that for the first time, because like I'm so happy. That's the one good thing that's coming out of this, is I feel like maybe America and China can be best buddies here in the future. But like I'm so glad that you are able to see what I have been seeing for years and years. But just because um they're
I think the key
nice.
thing is just being aware that that in-app monetization is not really going to be open to most people outside of China.
And there are a lot of
Um,
scammers out there, and you are going to find, because I've already had them even before this happened, so I'm going to predict there are going to be people out there that are going to be using this, and they're going to be coming to you and saying, hey, let me get you an account where you can get paid and get paid for your content. Let me work with you. And these can be scammers that will hack your account. They can be, I mean, there are legitimate people as well. I worked with one to get a verified account, but you have to be very careful. And if they're telling you things like you can go live, you can't go live on the platform. That's not allowed. You can collect money. You can't collect money on the platform. And there are going to be people that are going to tell you that they, pay me this amount of money and I will do this for you. And I'll tell you right now, that will not happen, because there,
yes.
if
I
you
think the
want to,
key thing really with that is avoid the scammers, be careful. And to be honest, if you're someone who if you want to be monetized, don't go to Xiaohongshu. Go to YouTube or one of those other well-known social media apps that's American and is well established and you know how it works. If you want to just post fun videos and engage with a particular community that happens to be quite active on Xiaohongshu, then that's great. Like, think of it as social media before monetization was really a thing. It's a, a great place to post videos and post other kind of content. There's a lot of community features on Xiaohongshu which are fantastic. And the earning money thing is, like we said earlier, both of us run businesses that earn money via promoting our services through Xiaohongshu, but it's difficult to do as someone who's not Chinese, and it's not in the same way as you would have on an app like TikTok. Basically, you either run your own business and you try and bring people off Xiaohongshu towards your business to buy stuff, or they do have brand partnership kind of setups. You can like we talked a little bit about that. I'm registered with the Dandelion platform, which is like a you can get paid to do sponsored posts and that kind of
You're a
content.
little hard to hear right now.
Am I? I will. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. I don't know if it was
Right.
just hard to hear for like I
That's
could.
probably just me. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, like there are ways you can earn money on Xiaohongshu. But I would say honestly, if earning money is your main goal, then go to YouTube or maybe Instagram or those other kind of apps
We're
and
not going to
platforms.
go to Instagram or Facebook. The
Probably
people
not.
that are coming,
Yeah.
no. So okay,
I'm not
so
that familiar with those for
okay,
monetization.
so I didn't know either. I had to ask, and this is what I have been schooled. And anybody that wants to school me more, go ahead and do so in the comments. But Meta funded this attack on TikTok, I guess, in
Yeah.
some way. They backed it. They're a competitor, so it benefits them to do so. So because they did that, everybody is boycotting Meta. So people are deleting their Instagram accounts, they're deleting their Facebook accounts because they're Meta owned. YouTube, but I mean, YouTube is, you know, I think
I
that
like
YouTube,
YouTube for monetization. I mean, both of us also
yeah,
have YouTube accounts, and I think there's a lot of potential there. Like, I think if you're someone who creates TikToks because you want to be monetized and make money, then go to YouTube. But if you want that kind of community aspect, I think Xiaohongshu is better for the community side. I like the way that you can actually feel like you get to know people, and personally, I enjoy spending time on Xiaohongshu. But as I say, that comes with the kind of as someone who's spent a lot of time in China before, who speaks Chinese and can engage with content in perhaps a different way to how a lot of other people might do. But yeah,
yeah, and I think that so Xiaohongshu is a Chinese app, and when you're going there, you need to respect their culture. There are some things that I'm going to tell you right now. Do not ever say anything about Taiwan. Just leave it. Don't go there. Okay. Don't say anything about Taiwan. Don't say anything about their government, their style of government, their government leader. Don't say anything about any of that.
I would
Um,
also, on that point, avoid stuff about the American government too. Like, even though you're thinking, oh, I'm not criticizing the Chinese government, any kind of mention of politics, whether that's criticizing your own government or the Chinese government, or even if it's positive, I would just avoid political topics entirely.
yeah. I would say you can make fun of our government. There's a lot of, but I mean, yeah, it's probably it is better to just
It
avoid
just
it.
risks the comments going down a certain way, and then
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I would, and if you're doing it for a business, then obviously you want to avoid that altogether. I've been enjoying their content. I think their content is better than anything else. I honestly enjoy their content so much better, so much more. I started learning Chinese when I got on the app months ago. So that's, I mean, like, I guess I just stepped into what you guys are doing a long time before. Like, I've left TikTok. I went on Xiaohongshu. I've been learning Chinese. That's what you guys are all doing. There's a lot of people that are going to learn Chinese. If you want like creators that I follow on Xiaohongshu for that, there's a lot of really good creators that I love. And that's the page that I am right now focusing on, is the people that I follow, because my explore page, which is basically like a for you page, is insane because all it is welcome TikTok refugees, or hi, I'm a TikTok refugee, or here are the things that you need to know.
I think I need to retrain the algorithm to show me stuff I'm interested in
Oh
again,
my
because I
goodness.
saw a couple of those TikTok refugee kind of posts and I clicked on them because I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. What's this about? And I made the mistake of clicking on it and I left a comment on one of them. And the next thing I know is all of my, like, what you call the equivalent of the For You page, all of it is just stuff about TikTok things. And I'm like, this is not what I want to see. I want to see other stuff. The
Mhm.
algorithm, I would say, in general on Xiaohongshu, though, the algorithm is quite good compared to Instagram. I don't know I mean, I don't use Instagram that much. Maybe that's why the algorithm just doesn't show me good stuff, but it seems like a whole bunch of rubbish. And I don't know, YouTube Shorts, it kind of goes down a sort of train and sort of gets stuck on something and then just keeps showing more and more of the same thing you're not interested in. I've personally find that the Xiaohongshu algorithm is pretty good at showing me content I'm genuinely interested in. And it very quickly picks up on, like, if I search for something new, something slightly different, it will then start showing me a whole bunch of other stuff related to that. So I find it really great if you're someone who wants to engage in like content about different books or different movies or TV shows or all these kind of like trending, not necessarily trending, but like popular topics. It's very good at recommending you other stuff that's related to those. And the next thing you know, your feed is full of stuff that you're interested in. So from
Yes,
that point of view, I
I
think it's pretty
mentioned
good.
something about there's no translation option in the app. So if you're familiar with like Facebook or WeChat, somebody says something in a different language, you click on it and it translates it for you. I am literally taking screenshots of big threads that I'm parts of conversations in and translating it through an app, or copying and pasting it into like Google Translate or ChatGPT to figure out what is being said to me. There is no, and hopefully somebody said, and I don't know if this is just something that people are saying because people are really clueless when it comes to red. So I have no idea if people are just saying these because they want it to be, that there was going to be an auto translate feature coming soon. That would be nice. That'd be really cool. And maybe they will accommodate that. But right now it doesn't exist. So if people are speaking in Chinese to you, don't say anything about like, yo, speak English. That like we're not doing that. You're going to translate it. You're in their space, so you're going to go and you're going to translate it. You're going to do the work and you're going to translate it. You're in their space, you're in their country right now. You speak their language. If they speak English, that's cool. If they speak Chinese, then the other thing is somebody said that they wanted to post things in Chinese. I would recommend always putting Chinese subtitles on everything that you do. So if you can just take the extra time when you are editing your video to translate it and put Chinese subtitles on it, do not worry if it's not translated properly. Okay. There are some, so I'll give you an example. I did a really, really, really bad Jill. You know what I'm talking about, right? Translation was somebody when I was having a voice conversation with them. And I thought that she had a virus. I thought she was sick. And I said, oh, Bingdu. I said in Chinese, do you have Bingdu? Now, Bingdu is one, there are different tones in Chinese. So one way, Bingdu means virus and Bingdu means crystal meth. And I literally asked my Chinese friend, hey, you got any crystal meth? Which, so
To be fair, I think they're quite forgiving of foreigners messing up tones when it comes to Chinese. But
no, they're the best. They're the best. This is what,
yeah.
okay, so Chinese people, they are going to love everybody coming in and learning Chinese. You can go and you can say the simplest, you can say like, Ni hao, wo jiao Jillian. Okay, my tones were wrong there. They're pretty close, but they were wrong. And then, hi, my name is Jillian. And my tones were wrong. Okay, but wrong. Understandable. If I said that to somebody in Chinese, they'll be like, oh my goodness, your Chinese is so good. You're so good. Oh, like they will be the most encouraging people to you. So try to speak Chinese. Try to learn Chinese if you want to learn Chinese. If you don't want to learn Chinese, you're going to have to translate, like, be respectful of them. And just,
I don't know. I kind of have maybe mixed opinions on this about it. I think it depends on what your goal is with Xiaohongshu. Maybe this is a bit controversial. But like for me, with my account, I'm trying to promote my business and I'm trying to attract Chinese customers, right? So of course I'm going to post in Chinese. It helps that I know Chinese. But if you are someone who's come across from TikTok, all of your content previously been in English, you don't really have any connection to channel or reason to connect with the Chinese audience. One part of me wonders, and I don't know whether like like on Facebook, okay? Facebook is used all around the world. I only ever see stuff that's in English or occasionally in Chinese because like I've got that turned on as a language I know on Facebook. I never see content in like Spanish or Japanese or Italian. I lived in Japan for a while. I still don't see content in Japanese because the kind of algorithm or whatever knows that I don't speak that language. Same on like Instagram, all those kind of platforms. So one part of me thinks that if you are focusing on building an audience like an American, an English speaking audience, maybe you're still better off focusing and just keeping your content in English. And that way the Chinese people will not get annoyed that their algorithm starts recommending them your content because you put it in Chinese.
okay.
I don't know whether this is me kind of making this up, as in I'm not an expert on this. And it'd be interesting to hear what sort of Chinese people's opinions are on that. But one part of me
Well,
thinks that if you want to keep the spaces separate, if that makes sense.
they
I don't
haven't
know.
been asking people to not post in Chinese if they don't speak Chinese. The Chinese netizens have been asking people, please, please respect us and post in Chinese. Like if we talk in Chinese, don't ask us to speak in English.
Oh,
We can't.
yeah.
So the Chinese people have been asking for that.
But I think there's also been quite a lot of irritated people on Xiaohongshu, like Chinese users, irritated about random foreigners coming and invading their space. And in the sense of posting content that is, I think sometimes people jump on Xiaohongshu and they suddenly post a video about how welcoming everyone is and how excited they are to be on this new platform, blah, blah, blah. And it feels a bit self-centered in the way that they present it, if that makes sense. It's a bit like going to another country and be like, oh my goodness, look, these people, I thought they were really poor, but actually they're super friendly and nice. And actually, when you say things like that, it's like, oof, like, although maybe you've come from one perspective, it puts that like, what's the word? I was trying to say not white supremacist. That's not quite the term I was going for, but it puts that kind of certain perspective on things, and it comes across sometimes in a way that you didn't mean. Um,
Right.
so I don't know whether some people on Xiaohongshu have been a bit. Well, I do know I've seen a few posts saying that they're annoyed about
I'm
some of the
annoyed
posts
by
coming across
it.
from
I
TikTokers.
would love to see things on my explore page that are not um I would love to see things on my explore page that are not about the TikTok refugees.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed by it, so I can imagine they're annoyed by it. Um,
Yeah, and I think also like be aware that Xiaohongshu has got quite a big number of users who are like overseas Chinese users. So like they're people from China who've moved abroad for like study or work, or they just moved abroad or whatever. That's quite a big proportion of the sort of Xiaohongshu user base. So they're probably getting particularly annoyed because the algorithm picks up from your location when it shares like posts. So they're
mhm.
probably getting loads and loads and loads of these posts from
That
people near
might
you,
that might be
which is
why
probably
I'm getting
annoying them.
so many. Actually, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying the near me, but that might be why I'm getting so many of this because it notices that I'm in America. Yeah, I and please, like, I'm really hoping that we don't bring our like American toxic. I can't talk.
Toxicity.
Yes, I hope that we really don't bring that over to the platform because, like I was saying, Chinese people are some of the nicest people. And I like on one hand, I'm really, really, really happy that you all get to see this and you get to see what a nice group of people that they are. Yeah, you've got some people that aren't right, but that's everywhere. I'm really glad that you get to see that. But at the same time, I'm really hoping that you don't make us look stupid. Like, don't go over there and make us look stupid because they're nicer than us. I'm going to be for real there. They're, they're nicer than Americans. Um,
I wasn't going to comment on my opinions of Americans. You guys
can't,
are lovely.
you're not American, so you can't say it, but I can.
No.
Just like I don't know. I just really hope. And then there is also I want everybody to take this into consideration too. And I'm not foreshadowing anything. I am not trying to be doomsday. Katie knows what I'm about to say here. I'm not trying to be doomsday. I'm not trying to get anything like that. But this could go one of two ways. So it's not going to go in the way where they monetize Americans. It will not go that way. It's not going to go in the way where they let you connect it to your Facebook or anything like that. Like it's not going to go in the way where it's more accommodating to Americans in that way. But it can go in the way where Xiaohongshu looks at it as a way to make money somehow, and they try to make money off the Americans, and they do something to try to make money off the Americans. Okay, it could go that way, where they become more accommodating to it. They could create a secondary app like Douyin and TikTok, right? They could create a secondary app for it, where it becomes the American app and the Chinese app. Um, they could um, they could put more features in there, like translation features, to become more accommodating. Or the Chinese government could also get involved in this. And this has happened before. We've seen this happen with other Chinese platforms. When there's a huge influx of foreigners, they shut it down. So there is a possibility that, I mean, you guys are all leaving TikTok for freedom of speech, and but you're going to a platform that's a lot more strict. And there is a I don't want to say huge possibility. I would say 50-50, because the Chinese government could say, we're with them. We got your people now. They're our friends now. And they could want to keep them, because like keep the Americans on the platform, because it's kind of like an, anti-government kind of thing. Or they could say, you know what, enough is enough. We don't need all this Western influence. We don't need all this going on. We're banning American accounts now. This isn't, this is ridiculous. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen, Katie?
I think actually neither of those necessarily. I think Xiaohongshu themselves will probably just ignore it. Like this is for them still a small number of people. I mean, to us it seems like a lot because you're probably just seeing more of it, or because you're in America and it's appearing on your like recommended
Not a
post.
small number of people. It's
Okay,
it is the
it's a significant number. But what I'm saying is that
it
I
is the
don't
number
think
one
it's
downloaded app.
compared to the number of people in China, like the whole of China. We forget how vast China is, I think, sometimes. And I think that Xiaohongshu as a company have been very China focused. I don't necessarily think they see a need to expand internationally. I don't know, but that could change. I think what's more likely, though, in the short term at least, is that the American government would ban Xiaohongshu in the same way that they banned TikTok, because they banned TikTok due to the Chinese government control over the app. Xiaohongshu is arguably more government controlled than TikTok was, because TikTok wasn't even based in China. TikTok was owned by what is, I say, I'm talking the past tense. It still exists. Like I'm British, we can still use it. But TikTok's owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company. But TikTok itself is headquartered, I believe, in Singapore. So they're outside. This is why you're allowed to do things like live streaming on TikTok, which wouldn't be possible on any Chinese social media apps because of restrictions on who's allowed to live stream. So the way they managed to make the app available internationally was by essentially making a clone of Douyin and calling it TikTok and basing it in Singapore and making a separate app. So there's a potential that Xiaohongshu could do that, but a hell of a lot of work is involved in that to be able to make that successful. What I think is more likely, though, is that the American government's going to say, well, this is not even just a subsidiary company that's based abroad. This is literally a company in China. Xiaohongshu is a Chinese app, fully Chinese owned, and fully has to comply with the Chinese government regulations on things like data sharing and stuff like that, which I know the American government's been concerned about when it came to TikTok. So what I think is more likely is that the American government would just block Xiaohongshu or remove it from like the App Store and stuff in America. I think honestly,
It could have an influence on TikTok, where TikTok is no longer banned because they made their point. It's like, oh, okay. We get your point. Like, come back over here. But I think a lot of people have already said that they like the app better and they're planning on staying there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe it'd be interesting to have a chat actually about what people could do on Xiaohongshu and some of the differences from TikTok. I know we've been doing a bit of scaremongering right now, but like we talked a lot about like how not to get banned and the sort of these concerns that people have. But honestly, I think if you are moving across from TikTok to Xiaohongshu, there are some things you need to be aware of in terms of how you need to change the format of your content and the tone or the kind of way that your content is presented and stuff to be successful on Xiaohongshu as opposed to TikTok. Like it's a very different platform in the way that the algorithm works and the way that people engage with stuff. I don't know, that's
And
worth having a chat about.
links in bio, contact information, none of that. You are not allowed to share anything on Xiaohongshu that brings the user off of the app. It is against the terms and conditions, which you all agreed to without knowing what it says. I actually went through and translated the entire terms and conditions and read every single word because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't banned. But there are clever ways to share that information, but you cannot just outright say, this is my Facebook, this is my email, this is my phone number, because it will get you banned. And you're going to get a message that pops up in your messages. It's going to say system messages. System messages will be in English. The message will be in Chinese, and it will say, hey, you violated our terms and conditions, and it'll tell you something. But again, that's going to be something that you will have to translate to know what it says. So it's just really important to understand some of the differences. So if you're going there to share content and not take people off the platform, go ahead and post your stuff. Be respectful, be friendly, be fun. It's going to be fine. You'll be fine. If you're going there to make money, run a business, you need to learn how to use Xiaohongshu the correct way before you share any of that stuff. I'm going to go into some of the questions here. Chelsea said, can she access this app in Mexico? I couldn't find it on the App Store. I don't know. I'm not in Mexico. If anybody knows, let me know.
I would have thought so. I mean, they've renamed themselves Red Note for some reason, so maybe search for Red Note or Xiaohongshu in Chinese.
They're only Red Note in Google Play. So
I've got an Android phone, so
in
yeah.
the Apple Store, they are still Xiaohongshu. Yeah. But if you cannot find it on the App Store and you want to access it in Mexico, what you can do is you can go into your settings in the App Store and change your location to be in America. I wouldn't do it in China because then you're going to get the Chinese version of the app. So change your location to be in like America or somewhere that you know it is. Download the app and then go and change your location back. So you're essentially using like America's version of the App Store.
Be aware that I don't know whether it was the Apple App Store that does this, but it's either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. You can only change your location once a year or something, so you might get stuck on that App Store for a while. I think it's the Android one that does that.
It
That you
can't
can
be,
have
yeah,
multiple
it can't
accounts to get
be
around it.
Apple because I've done that several
Okay,
times.
I think that was when I first got my Android phone. Then I had that issue. I changed it to China to download Douyin, and then the I got stuck on the Chinese App Store for like forever. Um,
So talking about Douyin real quick, that is the TikTok version, or that is the original. That's the OG version of TikTok. That's China's
yeah,
TikTok. You cannot, as an American, by the way, have an account. You used to be able to, and then they banned all Americans from the platform. So when I'm saying that is a possibility it can happen, please don't do that to me. I run my business on there, dude. Like, I mean, like when I say it's a possibility that can happen, it is legitimately a possibility that, just like they all woke up to Americans, you might all wake up to no account on Xiaohongshu, which I really, really, well, actually, I should be okay, right? Because I have a verified account that I paid for with a
but you're
Chinese,
American.
but it's verified by a Chinese person because I have my Chinese partner. I have no idea. But my
I
IP,
don't know, but let's try not to risk it and let's hope nothing gets banned. It's all good. Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
you
but
register under a business identity, right? So that's probably a bit different anyway to being an
yeah,
individual user.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, hopefully nothing like that happens. I don't want to be like a naysayer and say it can happen, but I did see it as soon as I got on Douyin. I got on China's TikTok and I was all excited and I was rocking it and I had so many followers and I was
I
doing
used to love Douyin. As someone who was learning Chinese, like at the time when I downloaded Douyin, I was taking like Chinese classes at Chinese university and learning Chinese quite intensively. And Douyin was fantastic for like language practice because obviously it's all in Chinese. Like you
Mhm.
can make videos in Chinese, I could like watch other people's videos in Chinese, like people recommending Chinese TV shows to watch. It was like fantastic for that. And there was quite a big number, like a reasonable number of Chinese learners, like international users on Douyin, mostly people who are like they'd moved to China or something and then downloaded the app. But yeah, then they just banned everyone, which was kind of annoying.
Yeah, I just woke up one day and all my followers was gone. Everything was gone. I was really sad. And
Yeah.
I talked to their customer service, which is better than actually like customer service of any other apps for some reason. But they're like, sorry, we just nothing we can do. I'm like, okay. So I just be forewarned, like we have to go through a huge litigation process in America to get rid of an app or to get rid of people in an app like that. They don't have to there. So, I mean, it could just be something that the Chinese government wakes up one day and says, you can leave. um, Happy New Year. Tattoo teacher is stuck in my head. Yes, on the Taiwan thing. Don't ever talk about Taiwan. Somebody talked to, so those of you who are not familiar and maybe you're not in our teaching space and you don't know how this works, somebody came onto an online teaching company's platform, an online teaching company that was fairly popular too. It wasn't like an unknown online teaching company. And they talked to a student and said some political, to you it probably, if you don't know the politics of it, it probably won't sound like it means anything. He said Taiwan is Taiwan. And like to somebody who doesn't know the politics, like that doesn't sound like, it sounds like you're saying cat is a cat, but that's a huge political agenda attached to that is anti-China, anti-mainland China, whatever, anti Chinese government, I guess. I don't even know how to say it, but it's anti-China in some ways here. And um, it got this company shut down, taken off the app stores. Nobody would, like this entire company is pretty much essentially gone now. They say they're still operating, but it, they're not. Um, so if you don't think that it could happen overnight. We've seen it happen overnight. And that was because of content that was posted on Xiaohongshu, actually. Um, so if you're outside of China and advertising there for English lessons, what are the best ways to receive payment? Um, there are a couple of ways. So I would recommend using Stripe. Katie and I both have videos on our channels here on YouTube talking about how to do Stripe payments. So if you go check out our videos, you can find those. You're going to have a Stripe account. You're going to have to attach it to the WeChat payment processor system. I'm not going to get into the how-tos on how to do that. That is the best way. There is also the alternate way. If you cannot use Stripe, you can use a service called Super Teacher. We both have videos on how to do that. I'm not going to get too much into that, but Stripe or Super Teacher would be the best ways. You can use PayPal. There is a PayPal China. PayPal has higher fees, but that's also an option. I currently live and work in Japan. Yeah, cultural diversity. I haven't seen them yet, as I am geographically TikTok refugees. Okay. Oh, okay. Because you have. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying that you haven't seen yet, but
I think the TikTok refugee kind of content.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should
Yes.
we have a bit of a chat? I was saying before about like things you can do, like people who have moved across to Xiaohongshu, like what kind of posts to make. I know we talked a lot about what not to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know what your thoughts are in terms of what to do.
Well,
Do you think people can just copy paste stuff across from TikTok, or what are your thoughts on that?
don't do it with the TikTok logo.
Mm.
They're they can I don't want to say they can get you, but they can delete your content. They can it's
It just
against
counts as sharing external contact details,
it's against
basically.
the terms and conditions to post anything that's watermarked with another thing. So you need to cover up or remove the watermark if you're downloading things from TikTok and putting it on there, because it can get you kicked off the platform. And it can give you strikes and get you shadow banned or whatever. Like, do a lot of things there. The same kind of content, the same educational or funny content can pretty much be shared there with some exceptions. If you do OnlyFans, you need to be somewhere else. You should not be there. Now, I'm not saying by any means that Xiaohongshu is G-rated, because I have definitely seen plenty of things wrapped in lace, which, if I'm not going to say it, it doesn't make sense until you see it. You're going to see some lace wrapped things on your feed at some point in time, I think. Have you seen
I'm very
those?
concerned of what your algorithm's showing you. No,
Wait, have you not? Have you not seen
not
that?
really. I mean, to be fair, like you, I think I'm quite used to scrolling past things that look slightly dodgy, and because I don't engage with it, it's very easy to skip
The first
past.
time when I first downloaded that's what came up. Like, that's what came up as soon as I downloaded the app was toys for women that were wrapped in
To be
lace, but
fair, I think I might have seen a few of those.
they're not they don't just show the toys, they like wrap them in lace, so they're like delicate and pretty. And the first time I saw it, I made the mistake of clicking it and opening it, like, what is this? And it was lives. And then I
Oh,
got
wow.
a whole bunch of them, and I had to retrain the algorithm. But okay, so I'm not saying that they're G-rated, but they are a more modest culture than us in a lot of ways, and that's not okay. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to see the Chinese TikTokers with the little short skirts doing the little dances and stuff, and you're going to see that, but they're not out there openly selling their body.
I think also the kind of content that's popular is a little bit different. Like TikTok is slightly more of an entertainment app. And I know it's not just people doing like dance videos. I know that's not the whole of TikTok. Like for me personally, I'm more interested in like the book talk side and that side of things. But I would say that if you're moving across from TikTok to Xiaohongshu, like content as purely kind of what you might describe as mindless entertainment is not necessarily going to be that popular on Xiaohongshu as an app, whereas I feel like what's more popular is sort of inspirational or educational content. So the big kind of categories that do well are travel, fashion, parenting, home decor, like food, education, these kind of posts, rather than like music or entertainment or like I mean, there is stuff to do with like TV shows and things like that, but it's more that people post about their favorite TV show and they'll talk about why it's a really great TV show, who they recommend it for, and like a detailed review rather than just funny clips. So I'd say that it's more about in-depth, like your opinions on things and your own personal insights and kind of valuable, interesting stuff. Kind of more like what you might write on a blog, as
Yeah.
opposed to pure entertainment. And people read the stuff, by the way. Like, you know, on TikTok, the video takes up the entire page, and like you can write a little caption at the bottom, but no one reads the captions really. It's all about the video. Whereas on Xiaohongshu, I would say that you can create not just videos, but also image posts, carousels, and even just text posts. And people read the stuff underneath the post. Don't just write like one little short caption, a couple of hashtags. You can write like an entire blog post kind of essay underneath, like in the post description. And that's what people go to read. So if you're moving stuff across from TikTok, you'll want to like try and add a lot more detail. Like even if it's a video that pretty much could be moved directly across, like say it's a book talk video with your top 5 reads of the last month or something, but put in the description under the video the details of what those 5 reads were and what your review is and what star rating you gave them and why and what kind of key topics and themes are covered in each book or and who you would recommend them to. Like write that whole blog post in the post description.
That's gonna help.
Because
That's gonna help you in the
yeah,
algorithm as well, and
yes,
it is more. So I don't want to say more commenting than TikTok because TikTok has a lot of comments, but generally speaking, I feel like the comments on Xiaohongshu are deeper than TikTok comments. A lot of times on TikTok or like Western social media, you will see like really vague, like the same kind of comment over and over. And I feel like that they're a little bit deeper. Oh, on that, I also want to know for some reason, okay, I won't say for some reason, I know why, but people, there is a huge conception that the Chinese people are racist and they don't like certain races. And I want to say in my personal white experience, so maybe it's not really a fair experience, but from what I have seen, I don't think that that's necessarily true. So I came across some posts before everybody came on there. There was, a black guy that was like, hey, why do you Chinese people hate black people? And you'd go through and like I'd read the comments and I translated them because I was interested to see what this conversation was that was being had in the comments. And it was the Chinese people, like I said, they're some of the nicest people in the world. The majority of them, you had the occasional, this was like a viral post, and you had the occasional person saying like something racist, but the majority of people were saying no, they're like, we don't like, they're just people just like us. Like it doesn't matter what color your skin is, it matters how you behave and how you conduct yourself. And then I'd go to the occasional person that said something racist and I'd look at their IP address and they were from, can anybody guess?
I was gonna say America, but I feel like I probably shouldn't try and stereotype all
No,
Americans.
no, they were
No.
from America. They were people that were living in America. Their IP address was in America. So I mean, just because you are, I want to say different, but we're all different. Like none of us are Chinese, right? So, but just because you're different, and you're, someone that you think that falls into a category where you might not be liked because of your gender or your disability or your, the color of your skin or where you're from, that is not true. They are accepting and welcoming, especially if you embrace their culture and their language and respect them.
I mean, I do kind of would say that that comes from our perspective of people who maybe haven't experienced racism in the same way. But like, I think every country has got people who are going to be racist. Let's be honest. I'm from the UK, and if you look at some of the comments you see on Facebook posts sometimes, like in the news, like let's say there's some terrible like racist attack or something, there'll be comments on that post on Facebook with people commenting with even worse things. Unfortunately, that is the world we live in. I've not noticed so many hateful comments on news type posts from China, like within on Xiaohongshu. But then I think they're also, as an app, quite good on removing hateful content. Like they're very actively deleting stuff, as in like the algorithm is trying to sorry, the AI stuff, it scans, you write a comment, if it detects something in it that it thinks is bad, it will not let you post the comment. So I don't know whether that's affecting what kind of comments you actually see. But yeah, honestly, I think everyone is welcome on these social media apps, and it's just, everyone has to be respectful. And I think there's also growing awareness in China that certain things are not okay to say. And it's interesting actually, because I think so the Chinese culture is very much like keeping yourself to yourself and not making a big deal about some stuff. Like, it's more often I'll see comments saying things like, "Why are you even bothering to point out that people are being racist or something? Like, what's the point in making this post?" And I think sometimes they don't like it's more. I think I'm not explaining this very clearly, but like when you create content, they want to sort of see things that you're interested in and your hobbies and your passions and travel related stuff, that kind of content, instead of anything that could be politically related. And they see things like race and sort of racism and this as a politically sensitive topic. I think because if you look at the Chinese government and some of the stuff the Chinese government's done, we're saying that China's not racist, but honestly, some of their policies, let's not go into that. But there's definitely some questionable policies the government's had.
The government, because they have a very different style of government than we have and we're used to, and it's not my place to talk about what I feel or don't feel about their government. Okay. Yeah. But for the people in general, I will talk about them because I work with them. I don't work with the government. I don't know anything about the government. And I don't even know anything about our government. I just found out that TikTok was getting banned on the 19th, probably yesterday, because I don't follow that, because I don't like, I've heard it. It's been in the news for months, right? But I didn't know it was like, Thursday or whatever. Or wait, the 19th, Chinese New Year. It's on Chinese New Year. How ironic is that? It's supposed to be getting banned on the 19th.
Probably deliberate so that everyone is too busy like celebrating Chinese Year to fight against the ban.
But that's yeah. Yeah, that is really funny though. But
it's not a national holiday in the US, so they can go ahead and continue with banning you. Whereas everyone on the Chinese end is busy on holiday, so they can't put together their legal team to fight back.
That's maybe. Really funny. Yeah, that is really funny though. But yeah, so on Chinese New Year, I didn't realize it was this close to actually happening, because I am not an active TikTok user. So I just I was like, oh, I'm gonna go on my TikTok account right now, and I had to figure out how I even logged in, because I haven't been on there in forever. Yeah, but it's I don't even follow our own politics, really. I try not to, because it gives me a headache and it stresses me out. And I just kind of follow it's so bad, because I guess we should all be politically involved, but I just kind of follow just be a good person and do the right thing. And, yeah. So I'm definitely not going to follow what's going on too much and get opinionated about what's going on. That's what it is. I'm not going to get opinionated. I have the belief that everybody has their own opinion, and it's not right or wrong. It's not my decision to decide if it's right or wrong. But I think that I did see some things from somebody that had posted. So from a Chinese user that made a post saying, don't ask us if we eat cats. Don't ask us if they do not eat cats and dogs. Okay. Do not ask that.
Fair. When I studied in China, that particular region of China had historically something to do with dogs or whatever, but it's kind of a long historical thing, and they get these kind of long-held stereotypes, and people bring them up and kind of categorize the whole of China as everyone eats dogs. It's no, that's definitely not a thing.
I mean, it does happen in certain parts of China. It's not like mom and dad.
The whole scandal, for context, there was an entire scandal in the UK a few years back where the supermarkets were all feeding us horse meat instead of beef.
We had that here too.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah. I don't think this is a Chinese exclusive thing.
Yeah, horse meat is illegal in the United States. It is legal in Mexico and Canada. So yes, so a lot of people here, just because I'm also in the farming community, so a lot of people here, if you want to get rid of your horse and you send it to auction, these people will go around, pick up the horses for really cheap, and then ship them off for meat. So if you think you're getting your horse a new good home by sending it to an auction, it's probably going to be a hamburger in Mexico or Canada. But yeah, or America if it, crosses the border somehow. But I mean, there are areas in China that maybe
I think the issue is more that people's opinions on these things as well.
mm-hmm,
Like, I can remember when I first went to China. I first went as a student, and this like Chinese family basically adopted me. They were amazing. And we went to this restaurant, and one of the local delicacies to eat was well, firstly there was dog meat, and then there was also this plate of these weird grub things. Like they looked sort of, they were about this big, and they were sort of round, and they looked like slugs of some kind. It looked terrible, and they also didn't taste very good. But they were always this really like amazing local delicacy, and I remember just thinking like, oh my goodness, this is horrible. Like I don't know how to, like, because I'm not used to eating insects or anything of any kind. We don't really, I don't,
mm-hmm,
to be honest, I don't eat a lot of meat, to be honest. And so I remember thinking, oh, it's kind of weird, but I was being polite. I was like, oh, yes, oh, very nice, thank you very much. Oh, I'm a bit full. I don't need any more, thank you. But sometimes you see people looking at those kind of things. I've seen that exact same grub again featured in videos on apps like Xiaohongshu, and people would say things like, oh, these are disgusting. Can you believe Chinese people eat this revolting thing? And then I'm thinking, it's an animal, it's an insect. Like, why do you have to put an opinion on someone else's delicacy? Like, I mean, in France, they eat snails and frogs' legs, you know, like,
I have eaten escargot, and actually I have told one of my Chinese students that, and that's like he makes fun of me for every time we log into class. The first thing he's drawn on the screen, drawing snails, going, "You a snail eater!" He thinks it's the funniest thing, but it was so good. Oh my
to be
goodness,
fair, my students in Japan, they kept these kind of weird peck. They were not cockroaches, but they looked like giant cockroaches. I have an entire horror story about the science class where the school had like this whole thing of hundreds of these giant cockroach things in a bucket. Oh my god, it's horrifying. Um, my point being, basically, don't express negative opinions about other people's cultural things.
right?
Um, yeah.
And don't assume, because
Hmm.
the majority of people in China do not eat dogs and cats. They have dogs and cats for pets. They are horrified and mortified at the idea of ever eating a dog or a cat. Cats and dogs are very popular pets in China. So it's your their cats and dogs are just as much their pets as they are here in America, or the UK, or wherever you're coming in from. They're not food there. So just be mindful that when you say something like that, you're being very, very, very disrespectful. You might think that you're asking a legitimate question. You're not. You're not. That would be like saying, like, is it true that all Americans, okay, I have to censor for YouTube, so I can't say what I want to say, but you can all fill in the blank there. Fill in the blank with whatever you think fits. That would be very, very upsetting. Like, no, it's not. You know, is it true that all Americans just open carry and let loose on anybody that makes them mad, and it's a dangerous place to live? No. No, that is we don't do that. I don't do that. Um yeah, so that's kind of what you're doing when you go over there and say things like that. Don't do that. How can we find you both on Xiaohongshu? Okay. Katie, you're just Katie Prescott, aren't you?
Pretty much. I think it's just my name. Look for
Yeah.
my name.
Mine is my LLC, so it's Koala Teachers LLC. Um, I don't really want you guys to find me on Xiaohongshu.
No, I was going to say, like, my Xiaohongshu is for my business for finding students. So if you get a whole bunch of teachers following it, it'll mess up the algorithm and start showing my content to teachers, not to students. And I have a whole load of stuff on my YouTube channel and in our Facebook group and stuff about why that's not a good idea. So
Yeah. So I mean,
thank you for wanting to support. I appreciate it.
I love it. I was actually thinking, so I follow a lot of Chinese accounts, teaching Chinese accounts. And I was actually considering starting a new Xiaohongshu that's a personal account for that. And maybe reaching out to some of them and introducing them, especially like I started working with a Chinese academy that to introduce them to Fun Class, which is a platform that I'm using, because they are coming out with something that's going to be really cool for these academies. So I kind of thought about reaching out to these companies and kind of having like I have my coaching business and my teaching business separate on these other social medias. I've thought about doing that as well. And honestly, as an established account, I'm not going to have growth. You guys can all join Xiaohongshu right now and be like, I'm a TikTok refugee, and you can have like 10,000 followers tomorrow because of it. I'm not going to see that. You guys are all going to be like, oh, it's so easy to grow on Xiaohongshu because people are going to suddenly be following you because of it, because you're going to have your followers from there. Americans are going to follow you because they want to be friends with you. Or because they want people that speak English in their algorithm. Chinese people are going to follow you because they're supporting you, and I'm not going to get. But if I start a new account, I can have that, right?
I was quite tempted to. I've got a TikTok account that is more to do with sort of hobbies and books and other related things. It's very much a personal account under a pseudonym, not with my real name or my face on anything. But I was tempted to kind of move that across to Xiaohongshu because you can have multiple accounts on Xiaohongshu. You don't just have to have the one. It's not like some other apps where they only allow you to have one account linked to one phone or anything.
It's more
So
like
I was kind of considering it. Yeah. You can add linked accounts, but so I was kind of deliberating about doing that because I think I have probably around 1,000 or so followers for that account on TikTok. I only posted like 5 or 6 videos. It's not like I posted a lot, but um, like I was tempted to move that because I use Xiaohongshu all the time, and my phone has always had issues with TikTok. Like it freezes my whole phone. There's been like my phone's old for context. It's like 6 years old. So I've had a lot of issues on TikTok. I end up having to use it on my computer, which is not what it's designed for at all, and it's not fun. So I was kind of tempted to be like, well, if everyone from TikTok I know anyway is moving to Xiaohongshu, because a lot of the people I follow in that kind of community are American, I could just be part of that and join in with all of that because it's going on. Because what I don't want to do is mess up my algorithm for my business account on Xiaohongshu by following a bunch of unrelated stuff, and then that's messing up things. But yeah, so I'm considering it, but I don't know if I can find the time, honestly.
Brandy with the IP address America. Did you just follow me from here?
We're starting to get a whole bunch of random followers of random people.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had too many. I've been avoiding like engaging with any of the TikTok refugee stuff too much because I'm like, I don't want to attract a whole bunch of random Americans. No offense, guys, but like you're not my target audience for my business, so it would mess things up.
Yeah, I am thinking
okay, I've only had 4 new followers.
Oh, and your name. You're not supposed to use your name either, as your username.
As your ID.
Is your ID.
I think that's a WeChat thing actually, rather than a Xiaohongshu thing.
Or is it not a Xiaohongshu thing?
Yeah, it's a WeChat thing. On WeChat, your WeChat ID shouldn't contain your name. Although in the past they encouraged you to contain your name, which is a bit confusing. So mine does have my name in it because at the time they're like, you should choose your name plus some numbers, and now they're like, you should not choose your name. So I'm not sure what happened there, but I think on Xiaohongshu it's fine.
And if you have, well, I'm gonna go ahead. I have to log out to start a new Xiaohongshu account. It won't let me just like start one. Yeah,
there's a button that just says,
I know,
add new account.
I know, but I have to log out to start a new one because that's what it told me, Katie. Because that's what it told me.
It says here, add account.
And I'll click it.
I haven't actually clicked it yet.
Yeah, so if I go to switch account, you go to add account, and I will go to add a new account.
Yeah,
and it will actually tell me. It will actually tell
account. I think it's like on TikTok, you can have multiple accounts, so you can switch between them once you've got them set up.
Yes, but yeah, so like it's going to tell me to log out of this account before I start a new one. But yeah, I want to start a new account just to kind of get like, I don't know, any of you guys that want to follow me can follow me over there instead of on my business account. And my business account is small. It had really, really fast growth for what was considered fast growth a couple months ago.
But I think the thing is, though, the difference between having a business account versus trying to be an influencer and having a social media account you want to go viral and be more public is that with a business, our goal is to target a very small, specific niche audience who are directly interested in buying from us. Whereas if you're someone who creates content and you want your videos to kind of go viral and just attract lots of followers, it's a very different kind of goal on social media. Like I would say I've only got about 2,500 followers on Xiaohongshu. Like I'm not, in the grand scheme of things, a particularly large influencer as such. But that's been more than enough to have a constant stream of new leads coming in for my business because they're very targeted followers.
Same thing with me with 200. So, or like more than 200, but yeah. So I have a newer, well, I don't have a newer Xiaohongshu account. I've had my account for years, but I've never posted anything on it. Until recently, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it. So I do want to talk about, there is a way that people can monetize themselves with influencers as an influencer. Let's talk about that program because people don't know about it.
So there is the Dandelion platform, and actually there's several different ways. So you can be like, so basically the general concept is brand partnerships, right? A company can pay you to make a sponsored post, and in that post you feature their product or service, you say how wonderful it is, you give an authentic review, whatever, and then you tag their account, so people can go check out their products. That kind of sponsored post is very possible to do on Xiaohongshu, and in fact it's one of the main ways that sort of micro influencers, smaller scale influencers monetize their accounts, because you don't necessarily no one wants to go through the effort of setting up a registered business to open a Xiaohongshu shop to then sell physical products and have to ship them around the world. Like, that's a lot of work for people to do. So this kind of brand partnership approach is the main way that people can kind of monetize their Xiaohongshu accounts. I'm registered with the Dandelion platform, which is Xiaohongshu's built-in like personal KOL platform. KOL, you'll see this a lot. KOL stands for key opinion leader. It basically just means influencer. It can refer to micro influencers or larger scale influencers, but it's, yeah. So their KOL platform, the Dandelion platform, and they also have the Douyin platform, which is for slightly larger, bigger name influencers with a larger following. Basically, on these platforms, and there are also some ones outside of Xiaohongshu entirely. So, what's one name of the one I'm thinking of? There's a couple of other completely separate websites where people can go search for influencers on a range of Chinese social media platforms, including Xiaohongshu. But anyway, you can register on these platforms. You get invited to join once you've got the minimum number of followers. So to get onto the Dandelion platform, I think I just had to have 1,000 followers, something like that. I don't know whether it also counted some other metrics, but at some point I got invited to join, and it was when I had around 1,000 or so followers at that point. And then brands can reach out to you within Xiaohongshu itself. I get messages every now and then from a brand that will say, we want you to create a post on this topic. You can actually set within your settings what you generally charge for posts, but brands could propose a different amount, and then they'll say they'll pay you that amount to create a post and advertise like that content. I know in the US and here in the UK, you have to mark a post as sponsored if it's sponsored. China's got slightly different rules on this, but in general, I would say you should still mark it as sponsored because you don't want to get any issues. But yeah, they pay you to create a post. And depending on what platform you're talking, yeah, this is the Pugongi, the kind of influencer platform. And basically on this platform, brands can search for influencers and they can filter by like what category they can tend to post in. Like, are they a fashion influencer? Are they makeup? Are they travel? Are they education? Whatever. They can filter by different industries. They can filter by kind of the number of followers that they have. They can filter according to their budget and stuff and reach out to these influencers. I've actually never done a sponsored post myself as a creator, but what I have done is the other side of things as a business, paying creators on Xiaohongshu to post content. And we did that way back in 2020. I was involved in an online ESL startup program based in China. It was like with a Chinese company. We co-founded this program. It's since wound down because a whole bunch of new regulations came out, all kinds of complications. But anyway, I co-founded that way back, and we used one of these influencer things to reach out to some micro influencers. We're talking around 10,000 followers, that kind of size of influencer, to create sponsored posts featuring our services and giving a review. And in return, we gave them a bunch of free classes. We paid them, and we also offered them kind of affiliate arrangement where people mentioned their like referral code, then they would get a little kickback, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a long ramble. That's the thing on Xiaohongshu that is open to foreigners.
So if you want to find it, it's going to be pgy.xiaohongshu.com. So if you want to find it, I don't know if there's an app for it, but that's how you're finding it on desktop because that's where I'm looking right now.
Within within Xiaohongshu itself, let me open up my app. I have settings. Where's it gone? In the creator center. There's a section here where I can. I'm trying to find it now. I never use this that much.
Okay, creator center.
I don't think you'll have this because you haven't got 1,000 followers yet. So I don't think you'll have access to the brand partnership bit. But I'm trying to find it. Everything's moved around. Oh my goodness.
And again, this is one of those things where I'm gonna have in order to look at this. This is what you're.
That looks very different. Okay.
Well, this
My
is
creator center has like a whole bunch of other stuff.
okay. So, well, this
Yeah.
is my creator center right here. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Okay, it's kind of similar.
yeah, this is when I click on this right here. When I click on that, it goes into this. These are my options for the creator center. So like I'm saying, like, yes, the app's in English, but it's not all in English. You're still
Yeah,
going to get a
it's
lot
not in
of
English.
this, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of this is kind of like learning how to navigate the app without like you're a 3-year-old using your mom's iPad, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of what I feel like. But mine's going to look different than yours because I do have a verified business account with like the little check mark there.
Yeah.
Um
But anyway, they've all expired for me, so I can't actually see any active brand requests. But anyway, what normally happens is I get a message saying like a brand's reached out to you, they're interested in partnership, and I can see like the details of the partnership, and it's all within the Xiaohongshu app itself. It will become more obvious and easy to find once you're already like once you reach that 1,000 followers
so
milestone. You get invited.
is there a link or I'm sorry, is it just a message that comes across
Yeah.
or is there like
It's in the creator center. There's a bit about brand partnerships, but at the moment I can't see anything because I haven't got any brand partnerships active.
does it look like any of these logos here?
That's more like your analyticsy stuff or like how to grow your
Well, no,
account.
it's not all analytics because that second one is like
The
an
second one.
election.
Sorry, it's wobbling a lot. I can't see it. Activity center, posts, ideas, inspiration, growth center, health something or other. Like, oh, the bit at the bottom, you see that's got little lock marks next to it. There's a few that have got a little lock mark.
Uh-huh.
The one that looks like a magic wand and the one next to that.
Yep.
Those ones
So I can
are
also,
related to partnerships.
yeah, I can also go and I can also
So I think
translate.
you can go in, but they say currently locked, and I think it'll say you can apply at some point in the future or something.
Okay. So let me just come in here really quick and
Actually, I'd be interested to see like what is the application process? Does that show you? Because I did this ages ago.
okay, translate. Blogger collection, buyer copper. Okay, so blogger collection. So that first one, the one with the wand, blogger collection, that's for influencers.
The better translation would be cooperation rather than collection, I would say. But yeah.
Okay. Oh no, it does say collaboration. Sorry.
Okay.
And then the next one is buyer cooperation.
Yeah,
So
that's about selling stuff. So basically, brands can reach out to you and you can make a blog post. Like the first one's about making a blog post that's sponsored. The second one, they're about buying stuff, is if you can link to their Xiaohongshu shop and you can like recommend direct products within that other brand's Xiaohongshu shop and promote stuff, like cross promotion.
So because I do have this translated for you here, if anybody wants to see this, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show you what this kind of stuff, the tools are. So that's account diagnostics. Create a collection. So kind of like how YouTube has playlists, you can make like a playlist on your Xiaohongshu. That's basically what a collection is.
Directly from your main account. I don't think you have to do that
Notes weekly. Yeah. Creative Institute, that's going to be all in Chinese. That's your training, I think.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch. Actually, it's really, if you know Chinese, they have some really great videos about like how to grow your Xiaohongshu account and stuff.
But there's no translation to English in any of them, so you will not be able to use them. They're really good, but they're not really good. Rule Center. And then you have the next section. The second section of this is author growth. So then you have, there's a flag. It's Activity Center, Notes Inspiration, your Growth Center, Original Protection. You guys aren't going to have that because I think that's my verified. Where am I at here? I think that has to do with my verified account.
Do I have that?
Growth.
It might just be like anyone who's got stuff that they've created, if that makes sense. Like, because even as a creator, you can report someone stole your video or whatever and reposted it somewhere.
Okay, growth booth and spotlight promotion.
And my stuff's in different places.
The last part is on monetization. So you've got blogger collection, buyer cooperation, anchor center, opening shop, which I would love to open a shop, but I can't get paid for it. So it doesn't, I mean, because I would 100% open up a shop and sell like curriculum things like worksheets or little mini classes that they could just take or something. But I cannot open up a shop and get paid, and you cannot have free things on the shop, and I can't even use it to like collect emails or anything like that or contact information because of the way that they have it. And then you have your professional center, which you probably won't have access to that, and then your monetization settings, which I mean, like you go into monetization settings, and let me see what this says. But I mean, as far as people that are thinking that you're going to be able to go on there and get monetized the same way that you can on TikTok, because I have
Not
seen
the same.
people, you can't. I'm so sorry, but it's not going to happen. Not in the way they don't even have that. It doesn't exist.
No. Like
Oh,
they
okay.
have, I can show you.
That
Yeah.
last one, the monetization settings, it looks like the little settings wheel that is actually giving you the dandelion cooperation entrance. Show
Yeah.
the dandelion entrance on your personal homepage. Support the brand to view your dandelion homepage and launch an invitation. So
Oh,
if you
because you're
are,
registered as a company. You're registered as a company on Xiaohongshu, Jillian. Your account's
so
a company account. So you're seeing the option to pay other people to promote your content. That
oh,
explains some things because I see the other way around. So, for example, for me, when I open up that bit about sponsored posts, the Dandelion platform, I can see not a lot because you see just blank. There's no, but here would be like opportunities to reach out to certain brands, and you can see like recent. Again, I haven't had any sponsored posts, so but you can see recent sponsored content that you've done and how it's doing. And
so
in
you
my
don't have to pay
settings,
them. You could offer them free, like a free class.
you could. I'm not sure about on the Dandelion platform. I know you can on external platforms that link in with Xiaohongshu. With the Dandelion platform, so I can set here. This is my kind of personal thing, and I can set here how much. Like you can see how much I earn or whatever, and people pay you within the Xiaohongshu app. And you can also set like what your preference is, like how much on average you want to charge per post, that kind of thing, which give brands an idea as to how you fit in with their budget and stuff. Um, but as you can see, I've not actually used this. I've registered for it. I've had the occasional message about potential brand partnerships, all of which have since expired, so I can't show you anything interesting. But the ones I reached out so far have not been that relevant to my account. Like they've been sort of recommending like baby clothes or something. I'm thinking about technically I'm in their kind of education category, but I'm not in early years education. I'm not like one of those mum blogger kind of types, so it doesn't really fit with my account. And what other ones have I had? I had a few people trying to reach out selling like educational games, that kind of stuff, which I might have considered, but I didn't really know what to do about it, so I just left it and it expired. So
So for
yeah.
my dandelion thing, it says,
Hmm.
cannot open the door to find me cooperation because you do not have. This is translated too, so it's terrible.
Yeah.
But because you do not have the cooperation buyer cooperation rights, temporarily unable to enable this function.
So you're on the other end from the company's end. So I don't know what requirements they have for companies to be able to enable
I
that.
would, and actually here,
Because
maybe I.
we were already
Yeah, I'm
able to do
wondering.
that.
Hold on, I want to
The
show
account.
without showing my ID.
Yeah. Temporary 这样无法 can be unable to open the searching corporation account if you don't have it's just saying it's temporary this function is not available. That's all it's saying, temporarily unavailable for you.
Okay.
I don't know. Don't know why.
I mean, that might be something that I look into too, because
Yeah.
yeah, to see it. But I mean, there's a lot that I don't know about the account,
Yeah.
or that I don't know about Xiaohongshu. But there's a lot that I found just by going in there and playing around that like other people didn't know about. Even Katie, who I consider to be the expert on Xiaohongshu, there's a lot that I like. There are some things that I found out playing with it that other people weren't using. So
I think there are a lot of good community features and stuff. I know we were talking about like group chats and things, and like I've got my group chat on Xiaohongshu, which is quite a kind of great way to connect with your audience. And I think that might be particularly interesting. So going back to what we were talking before about TikTokers moving across to Xiaohongshu, I think the ability to create group chats as a search for groups and sort of connect with like-minded people through the group square function
yes.
is quite cool. Like I don't know, just load up here, group square. You can see a whole bunch of random groups and you can join groups and you can create your own group. And it's quite an active part of the platform in certain niches. And I know you've used your group a lot more than I have, to be honest. Like my group chat kind of exists, but I don't post that much in it except to share posts that I've made. I just reshare my own posts. But you can do things like creating polls and setting up what they call sequence posts, which is a bit like on Facebook. You know, on Facebook you've got in a Facebook group the what's called not learning section, the group guides. You can set up something like that, a bit like that in the Xiaohongshu group chats. And you can do hashtags to sort of, because otherwise stuff gets buried in the group chat if people
Mhm.
put a load of comments. So you can use hashtags just to make it easy for people to find certain content. Um, there's a lot you can do with that, which is quite cool. I know we were talking a bit about that, but I think you've played around more with the group side of things than I have, to be honest.
Yeah. So the groups are really cool. You're coming from like Facebook and TikTok and stuff where we are used to our groups. Our groups over here on Facebook are like a Facebook group. You know, it's every thread has its own comments. The group chats or the groups that are on Chinese social media, any Chinese social media, is not a thing like what we have in our groups. It's a
Like
group
a
chat,
WhatsApp group.
which we like typically hate group chats. It's going to take some getting used to because people hate group chats. But that's how it's going. Like it's a group chat. But you can start a group chat. You could join a group chat. You can attach your group chats to your notes that you post. That's where it's coming because they call them notes. So red note, but I still don't like it because it's not the right translation, and I don't like it.
I think they're trying to avoid like the Little Red Book, the original translation, because the kind of link to Chinese historical kind of like the Red Book kind of link,
Right, but
like
it would
Mao's Red Book, that whole kind of link.
I feel like it would be like people coming and calling Facebook Face Note.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. It's weird to me. I don't like it, and I have to get used to it because
But at the same time, the word book is like quite like, it makes sense if you're coming across from like book talk community or something. But I think compared to like books are a very small part of the Xiaohongshu app. It's more focused on fashion and travel and those kind of topics.
But is it really about a book?
Probably notes
Like
either.
Facebook is not like a book. It's not
I
about
think the idea was like an address book. The original, it came from an address book. It's an address book where you see people's faces, not just their phone numbers.
right. Okay.
Facebook's kind of old. I think in the old days we had address books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that it's really exciting that everybody's coming on. If anybody wants any content on how to do certain things like tutorials, I have a separate YouTube channel. Type in my name, Jillian Shanahan. I have a separate YouTube channel where I just do social media. I don't post a lot on it, but that's where I post the things that are like that people are asking for, just so that they have a place for them that's not cluttering up this YouTube channel. So if you want anything like that, I know there's not a lot about Xiaohongshu on YouTube. I tried to find things to learn. I had to be self-taught self-taught and working with people like Katie and like my friend Yan and, like working with my Chinese friends, because there's not a lot. There will be a lot here soon, I guess. I guess this is a really good time to grow that channel if I just want to post a lot about Xiaohongshu since people are going to be looking up how to do it. So I probably will do that. But yeah, if you look up my name, I have like a whole another YouTube where I did post a couple of things on Xiaohongshu already before. And I would also like to invite everybody on Friday. And this is not because I'm not doing this because of everything that happened. This has been planned since November. This has been planned since November. But on Friday, I am going to be bringing on my dear friend Yan, who is a Chinese social media influencer on Xiaohongshu. And she's doing a free workshop training. The link is in the description box, but she's doing a free workshop / training to talk about how to grow your Xiaohongshu account, specifically as an online teacher. So this is really meant for online teachers. Of course, if you're not an online teacher, you're more than welcome, but you're not really, it's not really who we're like aiming to have join us on there, but you're more than welcome to join us if you would like to. And we're going to talk about how to do Chinese marketing, how to get paying students on Xiaohongshu. But really it's going to be talking about the app and how to use the app for business. So I'll post a link in the comments here for that too. You're more than welcome to join us. We have 160 people that are signed up for this already. It's free. It's kind of cool because we have somebody who is actually an influencer that will be here. And she's amazing. You guys are going to love her. And I know that Katie, it's the link for this is in the description box, but Katie also has a Chinese, what do you call it? The Chinese social media mastery course. right?
Yes, yeah, I've got a couple of things. These are more, again, they're aimed at online teachers or people running an education business. I guess a lot of what I talk about is very relevant to people running other kind of businesses who want to advertise to the Chinese market, but it's primarily targeted at education-related businesses. I have a free Xiaohongshu bootcamp. It's probably the first starting point. I would do that before anything else because it's free. And with the free bootcamp, it works you through like how to set up your profile, how to optimize your profile to actually reach your target audience, what kind of stuff to post, what things not to do, because what you don't want to do is get your account banned. Because Xiaohongshu is quite restricted in terms of what you can. And we talked about some of this already, but it talks about that kind of stuff. A lot of
Mike,
detail.
Mike,
That. Oh,
Mike, Mike.
okay, is that better? Okay, so the free Xiaohongshu bootcamp is free. If you Google free Xiaohongshu bootcamp, it should come up. To be honest, or it's like under my name on my YouTube account. You can find links to it everywhere, and it works you through like optimizing your profile, setting it all up, optimizing it, what not to post to avoid getting banned, what to post to reach your target audience. But it's aimed at people who want to build an education business and reach a target audience in China who are looking for educational services, primarily online teaching. And yeah, as you mentioned, I've also got the Chinese Social Media Mastery Program. That's a paid course, but that follows on from the free bootcamp. So do the free one first is my recommendation.
And why am I
So
not talking about this? Katie and I are both admins in Katie's group for the Xiaohongshu Facebook group to learn how to do Xiaohongshu. So those are all resources for you. But there's a bunch of free resources there for you. Again, our niche is not like the niche. The people that we help are not random TikTokers that are going over to Xiaohongshu. We're more than welcome to help you out if you would like it, but we really focus on people that are focusing on building a teaching business using these tools. So you will see a lot of that kind of stuff from us too. But
like I've got videos on my channel about things like how the Xiaohongshu algorithm works and that side of things. So I guess
mm-hmm.
that is widely applicable, but it's all from the point of view of how the algorithm works to reach a specific target audience rather than to go viral. Because kind of what we were saying before, if you're a business, your goals are very different on social media compared to if you are an influencer. So yeah, I feel like a lot of what we talk about is more business specific, but people
Yeah.
can check them out. Feel free to have a look if they're useful and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that it was like super important to come on here and talk about what to expect, because I think everybody was expecting to leave TikTok and then suddenly like, I'm going to be monetized on this Chinese app and I'm going to work and build my business over there, because the majority of people that are on TikTok, the majority of like even small creators have gotten to the point where they've been monetized. Like, I won't say the majority, but the majority of like heavy TikTok users, they're monetized in some way.
It's
And
quite easy to be monetized, to be
yeah,
fair.
and
Like I told you I've got an account, a TikTok account that only has, I want to say about maybe 1,000 followers, maybe not even that. And I've only made less than 10 posts on that TikTok account. Um, and I got invited for monetization within a month or two of joining, which is crazy.
I'm monetized on my farm page. And I think I have, hold on. Granted, it's a different monetization because again, it's another registered business, but I'm monetized. So I didn't need that, but oh my God, I open up TikTok and it's all about
Xiaohongshu.
184 people on that. Yeah. No, I open up my TikTok, it's all Xiaohongshu. I open up my Xiaohongshu, it's all TikTok. Like there are some things I love about Xiaohongshu. I can leave the app and it plays in the background. So if I'm watching something and I want to talk to somebody really quick and shoot them a message, I can minimize the video and still watch it or listen to it, kind of like YouTube does. Like I like that. I like that I can
You
watch
need an
something.
Android phone, seriously. I'm just saying.
What?
With an Android phone, I can do that with any app. It can just pop out in its own little mini app and put it anywhere I want on the screen.
You sound like my boyfriend. He keeps telling me that I need an Android phone too. But yeah, I don't know. Like there are some things that I like about the app. Um, it's it's a really cool app. I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel about everybody being on it, but I
I have
guess
mixed opinions. I'm more worried about like if I'm more worried about how it could affect I don't think it's affect me as a British person, but I think it could affect American teachers if the American government blocks Xiaohongshu. That's the only thing I'm really concerned about.
But they can't block it if it's already downloaded.
They can block access to it.
Not if it's already
No, you need a
downloaded.
VPN to access.
No, they can't block it if it's already, so like this TikTok ban, this TikTok block, if it's blocked, it's not going to. Somebody correct me if I'm
It
wrong.
depends on how they go about banning it. They can remove it from the app stores, in which case you won't be able to get updates to the apps. You won't be able to download it in the first place. But if you've already got it downloaded, you can keep the current version. But they could also just block access to that, like that site.
Maybe.
There were a lot of websites that are blocked. I mean, you don't try and access them because they're blocked, and they're probably like dodgy sites or whatever. But it's very easy if they wanted to require internet service providers to block access to certain sites. It's
Okay,
doable.
so they
I
could.
doubt they'll do it. I think it's too much effort for them to do. This is effectively what China does. You know, like when I lived in China, I couldn't access Facebook. I already had the Facebook app downloaded on my phone. I already had my Google Mail account set up and everything downloaded on my phone, but I couldn't receive new Google Mail emails and I couldn't receive any new updates. No, so I couldn't use Facebook. I could open the app and it would just act like I got no internet access. It would just say can't connect, can't connect.
Okay, okay.
So they could do that. I mean, I doubt they'll do it to that extent because it's a lot more work on the American government's behalf compared to just getting it removed from the App Store.
And we
But
don't do that here. I don't think they've never blocked any app like that here.
I don't know. I think you're just probably not looking for those apps. I'm not sure. I don't tend to try and
Oh,
search for dodgy apps, to be honest.
I don't
So
know. Yeah,
I'm not really sure.
yeah. I if it
There are
had.
certainly things that happen, like in the UK, for example. If you try and search for stuff that's like copyright protected, sometimes it pops up saying like on Google search, it will say results have been removed due to UK copyright protection laws or something. Like that kind of thing often comes up, and I can't remove that unless I use a VPN to access from like a different country or something.
Yeah,
So like they
VPN
do filter how you can find content and what you can
VPN
access.
VPNs are easy to get. So
Yeah.
maybe I will just have to go ahead and schedule out the next year of posts on Xiaohongshu. You can schedule using the computer app or using the computer. I made a post on my other Facebook or my other YouTube account talking about how to do that. So maybe I'll just have to go ahead and just schedule a whole bunch of posts out just in case.
Yeah, but then you can't engage in the comments, and like the whole point of it is the community aspect.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Because you
But
do
then
the
I
same with
want
TikTok.
to
You could quite easily, there's so many scheduling apps that will automatically post content across the TikTok. You can still post stuff to your TikTok account, even if TikTok itself is blocked and unable to be accessed from your location, just by going into, say, Canva, for example, and linking it to your TikTok
So
account.
what they're planning on doing is they're planning on removing access. I read it on the news here.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
planning
I
on
want to know.
removing the ability to download or update. And
Hmm.
then it said that people would eventually lose access to the app. So maybe they are planning on blocking it. I really, 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 really hope you guys don't all mess this up and block my app that I've been on. And that so many of us like don't mess this up for us,
I think
okay?
the key thing as well is make sure you're building an audience in multiple places. Like anyone who runs a business, like this is more for business people instead of TikTokers, but like if you're running an online business, whether that's a teaching business or any other business, like don't just rely on one social media app for your entire business.
Right.
Get people from that social media app onto at least another social media app so you have a backup, or even better, onto your email list, onto your like personal contacts. You can actually contact them, through something that you own.
Do you still have access to QQ?
I never really used QQ. I mean, I have a QQ account in the sense that I set up for like QQ Docs and stuff, and yeah, that still works.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I never
do.
used the email function of it though, but like
Okay.
it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, the social media part of it.
Oh, I never bothered that because by the time when I first moved to China, WeChat had already taken over QQ. They're both owned by the same company for context. QQ
Yeah.
is like the original messaging app, and then Tencent was like, this is like not very good, so let's just create a new messaging app and call it WeChat, and then that took over QQ as a
Yeah.
messaging app.
Somebody had said that they were blocked out of their QQ account
Yeah.
for where I don't even have it on my phone anymore, so I haven't even looked at it. A long time ago, I downloaded it and it was all in Chinese, and I was like, I'm not really interested. Too much work. I'm successful on WeChat, so.
Yeah.
But
I know
yeah,
for a while some like online teachers were using QQ instead of WeChat because they're having issues getting their WeChat account verified and whatever. And QQ, you could just set up an account. It was very easy to get it set up.
This is so wild. This feels like a double reduction of American social media. Like it feel like where everybody's flooding another social media app because something happened, and like it
I
feels
just
like
find it wild that your government has blocked a social media app. Like, I find it wild, sorry, that they have targeted one specific social media app, TikTok, instead of implementing restrictions that would affect all social media apps. Like, they were talking about concerns about protection for minors and stuff on TikTok. As the thing is, Facebook, Instagram, uh, any other social media app that you can think of, are they also don't have policies that protect minors.
it's not about minors. It's about politics and war and
What I'm saying is that they are blatantly doing it like politically motivated behind this, rather than what they were trying to say at one point. At least they were trying to say that, oh, TikTok is dangerous because all these young people on TikTok being exposed to content that's not suitable, and they're like spending hours and hours and hours every day on TikTok. And actually, do you know, in China, Douyin, if you are under 18, you can't access TikTok. Sorry, the Chinese TikTok Douyin, during like sleep hours and stuff like that. It's just not available, unless you can verify you're over 18. You can't go live. You can't browse on the app for more than, I want to say, 1 hour or 2 hours per
an
day. There's like
hour.
a time restriction. Yeah, an hour or something per day. Like, they've put those restrictions in place on Chinese social media apps, and the government has mandated those restrictions in order to protect young people. And I was like, well, the thing is, if the real reason was supposedly that to protect young people from all this content,
Not
why
to
not
protect
impose
young people,
restrictions?
though. That's not what it's for. It's because they're afraid that the Chinese government is stealing our information. That's like
But like,
they're
Meta literally has been caught stealing and selling your information.
yeah, but they're not China. That's what the whole thing.
Linked
Like it's
to the
all
Russian government.
what?
The whole like Russian influence on the elections. Wait,
Yep.
that's a British thing. Okay, well, anyway, Meta's been definitely caught selling
Yep.
users' data to foreign governments for
And that
the
was
for
and that was
political
a big
gain.
thing. That was a big thing. But the but
They didn't ban it; they just
but
fined
yeah,
them a bit and then forgot about
well,
it.
the reason that they're banning it is because, and I guess from what I understand, Meta has backed this and they have encouraged this because TikTok is scary. TikTok
Hmm.
is scary to Meta because there are people that they prefer TikTok. There are people that prefer Facebook, and it used to be people preferred Facebook or Instagram. And they bought out Instagram, and then people preferred Meta, and they
It's
kind of
about protecting the economic interests of the country rather than anything else. The
of the
political and economic kind of,
and the
yeah,
economic interest of the company, or the economic
yeah.
interest
Sorry,
of
that's what I
Meta.
meant.
Yeah,
Economic interests of the company and the political interests of the government.
I think
Um,
that it's very
I don't know. Not to get into politics. We say we won't have a debate
that
about
would be
politics.
like that would like okay, not this isn't even like politically speaking. This is just talking
Mhm.
about like working with a competitor, working against a competitor, anything like that. Like that would be like me. Katie and I do the same thing. Okay. She doesn't call herself a coach, but let her not, like, Katie and I do the same thing. We work with the same people. We are, in essence, in a lot of ways, we could be considered competitors. But we work together. And like you never hear me coming and saying like, oh, everybody ban Katie's programs and her groups and everything. No, I helped her build a Facebook group, you know, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to be doing this. And actually, Katie has a Chinese social media mastery program. A long time ago, I had a program for learning WeChat. So we've literally been in the exact same space, but the one time I said, hey, Katie, I want to do something on Xiaohongshu or whatever, eventually, because I'm learning this, but I don't want to step on your toes. And she was like, you step on whatever toes you want to, you do you be your own success story, and same thing, like she would say something to me like, oh, I don't want to, like, that's really your space. And I'm like, no, it's your space too, own it. So it's kind of like, I know that
I
we're
think
not.
that's between us being like friends and small businesses as opposed to big international companies that have this like shareholders wanting more money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's go.
but I'm gonna still think about it like that because they still could like be hand in hand success. Because I mean, um you can log into these apps using Instagram or Facebook. You can, like they could have a shared, like there's a way to make it work. um and I don't know. The one good thing that's really coming out of this, though, is that where before the general American population was completely ignorant to what the Chinese population was like, and they were completely ignorant and only listened to what they heard on the news, what they heard out of our president's mouth, what they heard out of, like, you know, other people, like, you know, like the racist things. I'm not saying that all Americans are racist, okay? I'm not saying that by any means, but the general American does not know anything about Chinese people, and now they are, and that makes me so happy because, like, they're not my people, but like I feel like those are my people. Those are my people, okay? Like, um,
I can remember the first time I went to China as a student, and I went there first for like a really short-term exchange program. But I remember mentioning to my parents, for context, I have like a lot of family connections to China. Um, I mentioned to my parents, oh, I got offered a scholarship to go to China for it was just a summer exchange program the first time I went. And my parents were like, oh, isn't that really dangerous? Isn't that really scary? I'm like, you're not worried about aunts and uncles. Like, what do you mean is it dangerous and scary? Like, my university's organizing it. It's an exchange program. It's all going to be cool. It's going to be fine. But like a lot of people were so scared, I think, of China. Okay, my parents, I think, were relatively chill in the grand scheme of things. As I say, we've got a lot of family links kind of within China and the greater sort of China region. But the like a lot of people I knew from university at the time, these are educated people, okay, at very top, like good university in the UK, were scared of the idea of even applying to a program to go to China because of a lot of fear around, I guess, cultural things. They have these very, very backward views, I think, sometimes of what China is, and they think of China as some kind of developing country or something. And honestly, I discovered like when I went to China, then I went back again after that for another exchange program. I went back again to teach. I went back again to travel and do business and all kinds of stuff. And even the very first time I went there, I remember getting on the bullet train and it was going at like 300 kilometers an hour. And I was like, do you know how slow the trains are in the UK? It's ridiculous. Like, you can drive faster than the train. And in China, it takes like only a few hours to go from Beijing to Shanghai on the bullet train. And it's the most modern, amazing, fast train I've ever seen in my life. And I remember getting on that train and thinking, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Why don't we have these trains in England? And then when I went back another time, I had WeChat and I had WeChat Pay. And you could scan a QR code and pay for stuff. This was like 10 years ago. So I remember getting there and being like, I can pay for things from my phone. Like, I don't need to bring cash. I don't need to bring a card. No one knows what a card is anyway. I can just get on the train and scan a code and I'm on the train, like, or on the bus or whatever. I can buy food at a market stall. We're talking about just like a normal street market, okay, selling fruit and veg at like a small street market, and they'll have a QR code to pay. And I just remember my mind being like amazed about the technology and the innovations and things that they had. I'm not saying that China is this amazing place where everything's perfect. Far from it. But I remember just going there and thinking, wow, we have the view we have of China here in the UK at least is completely different to the reality when you actually get there. And yes, I know there are a lot of political issues. I know that there are. I don't 100% support everything the Chinese government does, and for a whole bunch of reasons. But
do you 100% support everything your own
yeah,
government does? You're not going
no,
to.
there's a lot of things the British government does. I think, why the hell have they done that? Like, you put my
Yeah.
taxes up, how dare you? But there's a lot of things that we do as a country that I don't agree with politically and whatever. But that's always the case with any country. My point being that I think people discovering Chinese social media and perhaps, hopefully, getting to know a bit more about the culture and real life and actual people and making friends and building connections is only ever a good thing because it improves that kind of international and intercultural understanding.
I'm really excited about that. I'm going to talk about something that happened in 2019 that it isn't supposed to be said out loud. So the C word here, I'm talking about that. When that happened, I was working with the Chinese people, and as was Katie. And everybody in America was talking about, you know, China and how they were responsible and how they're doing this on purpose and everything. Meanwhile, Katie and I are in these people's living rooms watching them go through it way worse than we ever did. We're watching cities being putting up walls that the kids can't cross. The grocery store is on the other side. We are watching them stock up on things way before we ever had to, and in a much worse way. We're watching people
And you know what
quarantine
amazed me
their
was how
homes.
many of my Chinese friends reached out to me and said, Katie, do you need us to send you masks? Do you need us to send you medical
Thank
supplies and things from China? Because they knew that we were going to have shortages here in the UK.
And they already did. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Like, there's some of the nicest people, but like everybody here had this one viewpoint of China where anyone that was teaching online in China during that time or working with the Chinese people or talking to them in any capacity, they were sitting in their living rooms watching them go through it worse than we ever did and before we ever did. And, literally watching them like um it was I'm not kidding when I said they literally built walls between towns. They literally built walls between towns, and you might be 5 feet away from a grocery store, but it's on the other side of the wall. So now you have two options, and you had to hand things over the wall and try to get away with that, or you had to travel 20 miles, probably not 20 miles, but you had to travel really far in the other direction, even though you were right next to a grocery store, because you couldn't make it to that one. So they and people saying like, oh, like they did this to us, and then on the other hand, they're over there saying like, why do the American people hate us so much? Like, why do you hate us? And it's like, we don't. The people that are saying these things don't understand. Now I am very happy that the people that were saying these kinds of things get to know them, and they will understand, and that makes me happy. So I am happy about that aspect of it.
I think it'd be interesting to see how things play out as well. Like in terms of, I mean, I'm not that interested in politics. I'm not that interested in how the politics will play out, but like in terms of people and getting to know each other and what happens on social media platforms and the kind of connections that people build. I don't know. I think even here in the UK, we're quite isolated sometimes as a community, and I think not to accuse the US of too many things, but my understanding from a lot of my American friends is that the US can be quite US centric sometimes, just because there's so much within the US already. At least in the UK, we have some connection to Europe. I know we kind of burned down that bridge a while ago, but but even so, I think people in the UK can feel quite isolated and not necessarily understand the world as a whole. So I think it's exciting, perhaps, that people are spreading out to see different things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's exciting too. I have no idea. So I think I would like to get everybody that's watching this, I would like to know your guess, your input. What do you think is going to happen in the next week, in the next month? Do you think that America is going to say, you know what, everybody come back to TikTok and everybody leave Xiaohongshu? Do you think Xiaohongshu is going to become an app? I think that people are going to still use it. Do you think that it's going to end up getting banned? Do you think it's going to end up growing? Like, what do you think? The thing is that there's really no predicting this without a shadow beyond a doubt here, because when the government does things, they don't always give a warning that they're going to do it. So something could change right now. You guys all saw that with double reduction. You all saw that with um, uh, Douyin. We've seen it multiple times on different platforms, on different things. We just saw it with Lingo Star too. So there's no way to predict it, like, oh, things are going in this direction, like what do you guys think is going to happen, with either like China doing something or America doing something or nobody doing anything at all? Like, I'm curious. This is a huge, huge social media shift that I don't know. Like, you guys, it's all fun and games to everybody, but it's big.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm not sure anyone can predict it. I know that I'm kind of predicting that maybe the slightly negative. I think what's more likely to happen is the American government would ban it, but I don't know. I'd be interested to see if it has any knock-on effects on people like online teachers, for example, running businesses, working with China. And there's a lot of other people who run businesses that do work with China that use Xiaohongshu, and it'd be interesting to see the impact it has there
So
as
I
well.
don't know politics, but in order for the American government to ban it, they have to take it to court.
My understanding is that the TikTok ban included quite a vague clause about apps in general controlled by foreign governments.
Mm.
There were, I'm not sure the details. I'm not a lawyer. I've not read all the details at all. But from what I understand, they could quite easily block other Chinese social media apps, whether that's Xiaohongshu. There's another one called like Lemon8 or something that is also
Lemonade
quite
is owned
popular.
by, yeah, it's a ByteDance thing. It's TikTok. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, it's actually owned by ByteDance too, so it's even more likely to, like, even easier for them to ban. It's just like another subsidiary of ByteDance. It's linked to TikTok directly. But
I would be very
yeah,
sad if they block Xiaohongshu. So this could be just, maybe not so much of, more of a motivation for people to, um, maybe this isn't going to affect people the way that they want it to, where they're like, ha ha, joke's on you, US government, because the US government's just going to be like, okay, you made us make up our mind, like, we're not crying, we're
yeah.
about to block you all anyways. I hope that doesn't happen. the
I honestly, yeah, I think part of the issue as well is that sometimes the governments, and maybe I can't say much about the US, but like in the UK, sometimes it feels like the government's a bit out of touch with what everyday people want. And I'm not saying TikTok is perfect. I don't think it's the most amazing app in the world. I know that all of these social media apps have problems, but I think for a lot of young people, they are quite angry about a social media app like TikTok being restricted and things like that. Um, I don't know. I think there's a risk of other political implications, which the government needs to be perhaps careful of. But again, we're trying to avoid politics here.
on that
Um,
note, I think that I'm going to reach out to
yeah.
some of these VPN services and ask them to sponsor some videos. I know they do a lot of sponsored content, and it will be directly relevant. So maybe that will happen here. Yeah, I think that VPNs would probably be the way to go, and I like they're not going to
People have
stop.
to pay for a VPN, or like it takes effort, and that's, I think, gonna reduce the amount of people using these. Even if TikTok was accessible via VPN, it still
Katie,
reduced the audience of people on TikTok by probably at least 10 times.
Katie,
Hmm.
it takes effort to learn Chinese. It takes a lot more
Yeah.
effort to learn Chinese. People are leaving TikTok and learning Chinese right now. You go on
No,
there.
they're not. They're posting stuff in English.
No,
They're
they are not.
translating
Okay,
things.
yes, they are, but they're also posting things. People are going on there and they're like, "Ni hao, wo jiao
Oh,
Sarah."
they'll try a little bit. They make a token effort for
Hello.
sure.
Like,
But I think, not to criticize anyone who's going on to Xiaohongshu, anyone who's genuinely interested in learning Chinese, that's fantastic. But I think honestly, as someone who's been learning Chinese since I was 13, it's a lot of work to get to a usable level of Chinese. And I wouldn't say my Chinese is anywhere near perfect, despite learning it for more than half my life. I think that, yeah, people might make a token effort, but I think will they keep up their Duolingo streak more than a few days? I don't know.
I have.
Hopefully it
I don't
motivates
know.
some
I think
people,
that
but
I
yeah.
do. I did see something saying that the real culprit behind this whole thing was Duolingo. He's everywhere. And Duo was like, "Have you been learning? Here's your, I'm going to force you over here so you could learn your lessons." Yeah. No, I mean, but like, there are legitimately people that are going to Xiaohongshu and learning and making an effort and making videos and speaking in Chinese in one day. The tones are terrible, but it is understandable. They're making an effort, and it's, you know, if you're willing to do that, like if you support the app that much that you're willing to go into another culture, go into another country's social media and learn even basic things about their language and their culture, just so that you don't have to, they're going to download a VPN, or they're going to get a VPN service. It's not that expensive, you know? Like I
There
like
are
I
free VPNs, but I would be careful of the free VPNs because of security issues and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, or just
which
get a foreign phone number. It depends how they go about blocking TikTok, and it depends what process they use. They just remove it from the App Store. I mean, on an Android phone, you can just install the app from the APK file anyway from the website. Like, you don't need the App Store, or you can just download a Chinese App Store. Like, I have two App Stores installed on my phone. I've got the Google Play Store and I've got the Huawei Store. So
but
you know,
again, if the internet provider, like you said, blocked them, that wouldn't
yeah.
matter, because you wouldn't
But I
be able
think
to.
that is a lot more work for them to do. I think realistically, what they're just going to do is remove it from the app stores. They might ask TikTok to remove accounts that are using an American phone number to register their account, but I don't think you even have to have registered a phone number to create an account on TikTok. You can have a
That
TikTok
doesn't
account just
have
linked to an email address.
TikTok does not have to listen to the American government. If the American
Well,
government is going to say what, they don't have to. Why would
oh,
they?
I see what
Why?
you mean. Yeah, like they're blocking them anyway. So
Yeah, why would they ever listen to him? Hey, we're gonna block you. Can you please remove our users from our country? No,
Yeah,
we're not
no,
doing
they probably wouldn't.
that. Like, well, why would we go through the
But
effort?
the internet service providers would have to follow the government
Yeah,
restrictions. So you're right. The way around that would be a VPN.
yeah,
But then moving from the App Store, the solution is buy an Android phone, install the Huawei App Store, or probably comes with it already, the App Store that comes with the phone, and then you can install it anyways. Or change if on the App Store you said on a iPhone you can change the location to China or whatever.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
That's how I had Douyin. So yeah, um,
it's workable. I'm sure there's ways around all of these things. But the point is that a lot of kind of casual users won't bother doing that workaround. So then a lot of the kind of general influencers on TikTok who are kind of relying on people who just like minus brain scrolling on the app as their audience, they're going to lose a lot of their audience, and then that might discourage influencers from using TikTok, because what's the point in posting there when half their user base or more than half the user base is gone?
yeah.
Their followers will just disappear. I don't know. I still kind of feel like, honestly, the better option would have been for them just to move to like YouTube or something. I know it's partly a protest thing. It's a pushing back against the American government. We'll pick another Chinese app to use instead kind of attitude. But I think they'd probably have found more success switching to YouTube or to Instagram or something.
I think that, yeah, I think that Xiaohongshu's fun, and there are ways that you can monetize on it. But you got to think about, why are you there? Are you there to
Yeah.
protest? Protest
But
away.
that's the thing we were saying before about political things and China not really liking politics. If you're there to protest, it's not the place to go. If the fact of you just being there is meant to be a protest against the government, then you're in the wrong place.
China not liking politics is in the government or the people? Because the people love making fun of Trump.
Oh, that's because it's not their politician.
Okay, because I mean, I not even okay. So China is just as segregated as like pro-Trump, anti-Trump as the rest of the world is. They are just as like, there is a handful of Chinese netizens that love Trump, and then there's a handful of Chinese netizens that hate Trump, and then there's a handful of Chinese netizens that really don't care either way or don't know anything about it. But you get both sides of it. But on both sides of it, they have the funniest Trump impersonators. I'm sorry, they're better than Americans or British people or anything. Like, they are the funniest Trump impersonators. If you can find them, they're great. They had yeah, they have so many cool things on there, even that are related to politics. When the election was going on, and I mean, this stopped, right? This stopped. So when the election was going on, that's all I saw in my explore page was the election, and I couldn't get away from it.
I was in Japan at the time, and I've never been like anything to do with the US. So I never saw any of that kind of content. But
That's all I saw. I saw Trump impersonators. I saw memes, the funniest memes, the funniest real shorts, TikToks, whatever we're calling them here, the funniest notes, whatever, they came from Xiaohongshu. And I actually, there were some things that I saved on my phone and I shared them to Facebook, because it wasn't on Facebook and I wasn't going to steal the content. Like, I, keep the watermark on it and just reshare it and everything. But I mean, those were they're funny over there. Okay. But yeah. So I'm expecting when Trump gets sworn in, our algorithm's going to change. My algorithm's going to change to that again.
I wonder if Trump's gonna like unban TikTok though, because again, I don't really know much about American politics. I'm gonna be honest. Most people in the UK don't really support Trump. I kind of keep out of these political things, but from what I've heard,
I think
he
he
was
would.
somewhat against the TikTok ban.
I think he would.
Yeah,
Even if he wasn't against the TikTok ban, if something like this happened in the president before him, and
yeah.
he can walk in and with the swipe of a pen make 100 million people happy, and give them a reason to support him and make the rest of his presidency easier, that's what he's going to do.
So I
So
think that's quite possible, given that he's very imminently about to be sworn in, and I know there's a lot of controversy around that whole thing. What with the legal things he's been involved in. So
yeah,
I can see that being a motivation.
I do think that there is a very high possibility that he would be able to undo something. And when does he get sworn in? It's like really soon, right? Hold on.
It's the day after the TikTok ban.
Yeah, I thought it was the 20th, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so it is literally the day after the TikTok ban. So they could go through all of this for absolutely no reason and just, I mean,
Honestly,
yeah.
I kind of hope that's what happens. Not necessarily because I think TikTok is the most amazing app ever and everyone should be using or anything like that. Like, honestly, I think social media has many issues. But from the point of view of saving my business and making sure that Xiaohongshu doesn't get like banned or any other issues come up, and that the Chinese government doesn't like ban foreigners from using Xiaohongshu or something like that kind of chaos happens. Honestly, I would kind of like it if they could unblock TikTok. This whole thing could be forgotten. All of the
Could
people
Trump
could
just
get
come
back to
out right
TikTok, and
now?
it would be cool.
Okay, I can't even believe. So I can't even believe that I'm saying this right now. But could Trump please just come out right now and say, "Listen, America, we are not going to be banning TikTok. So you
Yeah,
might
be
as
down
well
for a day, and when I'm back in, it will be good.
stop wasting your time because I'm going to unban it as soon as I'm president. It will be my first action. Just unban it right, or just drop the case right now. That would be really cool if he could make his point go across that he was planning on doing that. So that they just like stop and everybody goes back to where they came from. I I am not as accepting as everybody being on Xiaohongshu as as the Chinese people are because I am afraid that it's going to hurt my business. But
Yeah. And honestly, I've seen quite a lot of posts from irritated Chinese people about these random TikTok refugees kind of invading their space, which I think is a very fair.
yes,
I can
can
see
you
why
imagine
people
if
get
somebody
annoyed at some of the
came onto
content.
Facebook? Can you imagine if somebody came onto Facebook or YouTube and all of a sudden, like, everything's in Chinese? You'd be like,
What happened?
like
Yeah.
I can't even use my stuff. Yeah. So it would be I there's good and there's bad to it. I just hope that it doesn't negatively impact us in any
No.
way.
I
Um,
think honestly the most important thing though, if you're someone running a business, is just to diversify the apps that you use. Own your own audience, get them onto your email list, get them onto like social media, not off, sorry, off social media and into places you control like your email list. And that's always the case if you're someone running a business. I know this video is more aimed at like the TikTok kind of people rather than the business owners, but um, and it's the same if you're someone who's got a TikTok account, I guess. Like own your audience, build an email list, tell them on your email list what social media app you're moving to next if they want to see more of your videos.
exactly.
Like
That's another good point. It's
platforms come and go all the time.
I think most people that are running a business know to do that. I would assume that anybody that's got like a good following and knows to do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, if you have them on your email list, yeah, you're not going to have every single person, but give them a reason to follow you and be on your email list, and you'll have the people that want to be in your space and care about you and are most likely to become your future customers, whatever you're doing. Yeah. So that's another thing that if you're on TikTok right now, get them on your email list. Yeah.
And that's easier to do from TikTok because you can share links. Like in your bio, you can post a link and you can tell people, sign up to my email list so I can email you all of the future things that ever happen with my account if I get moved to a different app and then that gets shut down where I go to next. Like that's
Right.
the best thing to do, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the link in mind that is going to the free Xiaohongshu training that we have on Friday. So
That adds people to your email list, see.
yes,
So if
yeah,
people want to, like that's what I'm saying, these are people want to own their audience, run events and things that people got to register and give their email address. Obviously, got to ask them permission to keep sending them emails, like that's the law. But you know, it's and people like you as a creator and they're worried that your account's going to get deleted because the entire app's being shut down or whatever, then they'll want to be on your email list, and that's the kind of people you want to keep in touch with. So
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't even use TikTok. I've gotten some more followers since I posted talking about Xiaohongshu.
I mean, I hadn't
TikTok's
opened it in several months, and
easy.
I had over 100 notifications when I opened it earlier because I hadn't opened it in so long.
TikTok's easier to get followers on, but I've never really focused on it. So it's easier to get like followers and likes and comments and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I think everybody's gonna be okay. This should be fun. We're gonna ride it out like we do with everything that happens every year. Every year there is something different that happens that is a huge blowout. This is gonna be the start of whatever that is, no matter which
I
way it
mean,
goes.
2025 only just started, so be careful what we say. Don't jinx it
Stop.
yet.
Stop. No, but every year since I've been in business, there's always something that's like a huge, oh
Oh
no,
yeah.
I have to. So
I set
whether
up my business 2020, 3rd of January 2020, my business was registered. Um, and I'd been running it self-employed for a little while before that as well. In that time, I had China changed their visa regulations. Giant COVID pandemic took over. A year later, new online education regulations in China. It wasn't just online, just off-campus tutoring education regulations in
switch
China.
over to 2019 TESOL,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we
Yeah,
can
that's what I'm saying. That these
go
affected
back.
things.
We can go back further than 2020 if you want.
Every year, you're right. But like the time that I've been actively working, like running a business rather than just, I mean, I've been working online teaching and stuff for even longer than that, but actively running a business every single year, there has been some big thing that has either resulted in me completely changing my business plan or having to sort of switch across to a different approach in the way that I do things. And I think that's always the case if you're running a business or if you're a social media influencer, whatever. All these things change all the time. Like
Yeah.
that's life. That's the world. That's how things work.
So yeah, if you're running a business, just get used to it because it's going to happen. And this is just, I mean, like we've been doing this for so long that we just kind of look at it. We're like, okay, here we go. Let's ride this out. What's going to happen here? Figure out how to use it for your, or use it to benefit you, right? So, maybe, I mean, Xiaohongshu, having a personal account on Xiaohongshu is not something that can really benefit me in the having a personal account's not going to benefit me. But like for example, we're doing the Xiaohongshu training. Okay, it's kind of perfect timing for this to happen because if you guys want to learn it, we're teaching it on Friday. Like, okay, let's do it. There's no content on YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. Okay, let's get it out there. Let's be the first to do it. We already know how to do it, right? So, like, yes, it can potentially negatively impact me, and maybe this stuff will be short lived because the app may get banned. But you ride it out. It's a trend. You ride it out, and it's one of those things that you
I've
can.
always said that like change is opportunity.
Yes.
Like people get scared of change. They think change is going to destroy the whole business, and yes, there have been cases. I said I've had to basically completely reinvent what I've been doing with my business because of these changes.
But it
But the
didn't
point is,
destroy it.
adapting doesn't destroy your business. I mean, you could give up at that point and shut down and go away, and a lot of people do. But see that change as an opportunity, and change in turn. You need to adapt with the changes, okay, and adapt quickly and respond to changes in the market. And that's how you turn change into opportunity and into growth rather than into giving up. Like don't give up in general, but yeah.
It's, you're not going to know what's going to happen tomorrow. What you do know is what's going to happen today, and you look at it and say, how can I use this to my benefit today? Okay, well, maybe right now people are going on Xiaohongshu and you don't think that TikTok's going to get banned. So go on TikTok and start talking about it. If you want to grow your TikTok account, go on.
If you're not American, this is a really good time to get on TikTok. Because even if TikTok does get banned, then the people who are still on TikTok, suddenly they, like, America is quite a large proportion of the international TikTok user base. So for non-American TikTokers, this is a really great time to replace those American creators who are going to get kicked off potentially in a week or so.
This is a good time to grow your email list. Email marketing is still the number one way to market to the West, or to non-Chinese people. So this is a really good time to grow your email list, because before you might not have had an offer that resonated with them, but they still are your potential person. And now all your offer has to be is my new social media account. No matter where I go, follow me. Boom. You can literally take this as an opportunity to go and grow your email list by 100,000 people, depending on what your following is. So you got to look at it and see what you're doing right now, what you are doing in your business, and how you can use what is happening to benefit your business. C19 happened, and I think that we're still censoring that. So that happened, and a lot of online teachers, they started teaching during hours that made sense. They started teaching privately. Double reduction happened, and people lost their jobs. Like, I am not kidding. If you're not from our space, welcome to our space. Okay. I will welcome you with open arms to our online teaching space. Okay. But if you're not from our space and you're not familiar with the double reduction policy, this was a policy that the Chinese government imposed on all these online tutoring companies. And there were like hundreds of thousands. I
For
don't know.
context, the online tutoring industry was a bit of a Bible over the whole thing. Like the main target was in-person, off-campus education programs. But yeah, sorry.
But regardless, the change happened. So teachers woke up to log into their classes and there's no website for them anymore. There's no account. There's no students. They lost their job. Imagine going in, like you work at Walmart and you're driving to Walmart. You go to the Walmart parking lot and Walmart's gone. That's what happened to all of these people. So what happened? They basically had to start up their own like shopping centers, right?
We're talking hundreds of thousands of online teachers, by the way. It was a big industry. It still is a big industry.
Yes. And they had to learn how to run their own business. That was a huge, huge bad thing. You go to your job and your job is gone. What do?
That's a whole month's income.
And
it happened just before payday.
Yes. And then the CEO of one of these companies said, you know what, my money now, got on an airplane, got arrested at the airport trying to steal everybody's money and flee the country. So a lot of teachers did not get paid. A lot of parents lost money, like students lost money. Teachers did not get paid. A lot of people lost their incomes. And, just imagine that happening. And there's nothing that you can do about it. You find something you can do about it. So no matter what, like if you've been through this or anything like that, you can go through what we're about to go through now, whatever it is. I don't even know what it's going to be. You got to figure out a way to ride the wave. Surfers do not fight against the wave because they're going to go under. So you don't fight against it, you ride it. So that's what you guys all need to do to make this TikTok refugee the most successful, no matter what you're doing in your life. Just ride it. Yeah. I think we have gone for over 2 hours.
Yeah, I was just feeling like it's probably a good time to kind of close this down, but yeah.
But yeah, on that note, I'd like to invite you guys all to join my email list. No, for real though, I would like to invite you to join my email list, which is going to give you, I'm going to send you a link right now. This is a free masterclass we have at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday with a Xiaohongshu influencer, also Chinese woman, also teacher, who's going to talk about growing a business on Xiaohongshu, even in more depth. So I hope to see you guys all there. Thank you, Katie, for joining with me. And you want to say anything before we leave?
That's cool. Thank you, everyone. Hope this has been useful for people. And
if you're still watching and you want anything in particular, leave a comment. Like if you're like, hey, I want a tutorial on how to do this. Hey, I want a tutorial on how to do this. We're going to ride it out. I don't know about Katie. I'm going to ride this out right now. I'll make those little tutorials for you. It's the time and place. So if you want a tutorial on how to do something and you can't find it anywhere,